Welcome to the Connected Leaders Academy virtual conference designed to reshape your vision of transformation. As we navigate the evolving business landscape, our speakers will unveil innovative strategies to manage and initiate change. Prepare to adapt, innovate, and lead, ensuring your role as a catalyst in this transformative era.
I want to start today by saying something you probably already know. You're not the problem. You've been doing all the things, reading the books, taking the courses, building the vision board. You're checking the boxes, making the plans, and taking action, and yet you're still stuck. Still circling around the same invisible wall. Still feeling like you can't quite hear yourself clearly, can't quite see the next step. The noise is louder than the knowing. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Noise. Not the kind you can hear, but the kind that lives in your nervous system, your mind, your old story loops. The noise that keeps you from accessing the version of yourself that's already capable, clear, grounded, and powerful. You're not broken. You're just full. Full of the noise from years of shoulds, fears, failures, and feedback that never really fit. And the more we push to succeed, the more we unknowingly layer on noise until we can't tell the difference between intuition and anxiety, between action and avoidance, between drive and distraction. I call this energetic clutter, and it's one of the biggest reasons high achievers stay stuck. We are so good at doing, but no one taught us how to tune in, to clear out, to listen beneath the volume. That's what I do. I help people clear the noise so they can hear the truth again, their truth. And not only hear it, but trust it, act from it, and actually live the life they are meant to lead. Let's begin with a question. Have you ever felt like you were doing all the right things, checking the boxes, making the plans, showing up, and still felt stuck? Like no matter how hard you work, there's something slowing you down that you can't quite name. That's the noise. And most of us are drowning in it without realizing it. I'm Lesley Zwick, and I work with entrepreneurs and professionals who are already smart, driven, and doing the work, but they're still not getting the results they want. What I help them do is clear the mental, emotional, and energetic clutter that keeps them stuck so that they can finally move with clarity, alignment, and confidence. Because the truth is, the real blocks aren't outside of us. They're the patterns that run inside of us. And most of those patterns, they're not even conscious. So today I want to help you start to identify what those patterns are and give you a framework you can use to shift out of the loop and into unstoppable momentum. Let's start with what I call habits of thinking. Now, we all have habits. We know what they look like in behavior, like biting your nails or scrolling on your phone. But we also have mental habits, ways of thinking we automatically go to when we're stressed, tired, overwhelmed, or just feeling unsure. And these habits of thinking are not who you are. They're not your personality. They're simply pattern responses your brain has developed over time to try to keep you safe. But if you're not aware of them, they run the show. And when they're out of balance, they sabotage your progress. Let me walk you through 5 of the habits of thinking I see most often in entrepreneurs. The first one is fantastical thinking. Now, this one's really tricky because it often feels like dreaming or visioning, but when it's out of balance, it becomes incredibly ungrounded. You start imagining things working out perfectly with no friction. You tell yourself stories like, once I get this one launch to hit, everything will flow. If I just had the right team, it would all work. Or I just need one viral post. And while dreaming is important, when we live in fantasy mode, we delay action. We sit around waiting for the perfect conditions that never come. Now, on the flip side of fantastical thinking is catastrophic thinking. It's the same coin, just the other side. This is when your brain starts spiraling into worst case scenarios. What if no one signs up? What if I make the wrong move and lose everything? What if I fail publicly? And here's the truth. Most entrepreneurs flip back and forth between these two. One minute you're dreaming big, the next you're imagining disaster. Fantasy, catastrophe, fantasy, catastrophe. It's absolutely exhausting. And both are rooted in a nervous system that's out of regulation and a mind trying so hard to just stay in control. Now let's layer in the third habit of thinking, obsessive thinking. That's when your mind just won't stop. You think about something over and over and over again, trying to figure it out, but you never really land on anything solid. You're caught in a loop. And this one's sneaky because it actually feels productive. You're thinking, you're planning, you're considering, you're researching, but you're not actually moving. And obsessive thinking often feels directly into both fantasy and catastrophe. You obsess, you spiral into fear or hope, and then you just go in circles. And when we can't quiet that loop, we look for ways to numb it. We distract ourselves. We scroll. We snack. We reorganize our desk. We redo our website. We buy another course. You know the drill. We're trying to soothe the mental chaos, but the chaos keeps returning. And then there's the fourth habit that shows up a lot in entrepreneurs, and that's the resistance to structure. This is when any kind of system, schedule, or framework just feels so restrictive. You tell yourself, I just need more freedom. I work better in flow. I don't want to be boxed in, or you really just don't want someone to tell you what to do. And while freedom is beautiful, too much unstructured space creates confusion. And confusion breeds chaos. And guess what fuels confusion? Yep, fantasy, catastrophe, and obsessive thinking. They all reinforce each other. And then there's the fifth habit of thinking I want to name, and that's perfectionism. This one masquerades as high standards, but really, it's a fear of getting it wrong. Perfectionism keeps us from launching, from showing up, from experimenting. We tell ourselves, I'll do it when I'm ready. It just needs a few more tweaks. It's not quite good enough yet. But behind all of that is fear. Fear of being seen, fear of failing, fear of judgment. And perfectionism often paralyzes us. We end up in freeze, doing absolutely nothing, stuck in a mental loop that tells us it's safer not to try than to try and mess it up. And here's something powerful to remember. These habits of thinking do not exist in isolation. When you shift just one, when you truly bring awareness and healing to just one of them, the others begin to shift too. They're all connected, like a web. And when you cut one thread, the whole structure starts to loosen. That's what makes this work so powerful. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to start somewhere. This is what I call the noise. And you can't build clarity on top of chaos. So, how do we actually clear it? How do we get rid of this noise? This is where the SHIFT method that I created comes in. SHIFT is an acronym, and it stands for the 5 letters stand for something. Seek change, have a plan, initiate action, face your fears and limiting beliefs, and transform. Let's walk through each one because every letter matters. S is seek change. It starts with getting honest about your current reality. Most people skip this step. They say, I want to make more money, I want more clients, I want more freedom, but they never get to the real about where they actually are. What's your revenue right now? What patterns do you keep repeating? Where are you avoiding? Where are you stuck? And even more importantly, what are the beliefs under that? What do you believe about success, about failure, about your worth? Seeking change isn't just about setting a new goal, it's about fully understanding what needs to change and why. And that takes courage. But the deeper you go here, the more powerful the shift becomes. In fact, this is one of the two places where I spend the most time when I'm working with clients. The seeking change and facing your fear steps are the foundation. We dig deep into your current reality, into your thought patterns, into the stories you're carrying that you didn't even know were still running your life. Because when you do that, everything, and I mean everything in every single area of your life, gets easier. Next is H, have a plan. This is the part most people rush to first. But a plan built without clarity is just busy work. If your plan isn't built from truth, if it doesn't include your actual patterns and blind spots, it's just another fantasy. So in this step, we create real plans, ones that take into account what might sabotage you. What stories are going to flare up mid-process? What support you need along the way? Plans definitely don't guarantee success, but intentional ones create containers for aligned movement. And your plan should directly reflect what you uncovered in the seeking change stage. Otherwise, it's disconnected and it for sure won't last. Next is I, initiate action. You've done the work, you've made the plan, and now you get to move. But here's the thing, action alone definitely is not the answer. You've probably taken tons of action before. But if it's not grounded, if it's driven by panic or perfectionism or people pleasing, it's not going to stick. Aligned action is rooted in awareness. You have to know which thoughts will try to pull you off course, which emotions might bubble up, what your inner voice will whisper when you hit resistance. Initiating action isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters from a place of trust. And this is where most people hit the loop. They seek change. They have a plan. They initiate action. And then something inside starts to whisper, this is too hard. Maybe it isn't the right time. I'm not good enough. What if I fail? The stories go on and on and on. So they stop. They spiral. They pivot and change directions. They go back to step one and start the whole process again. I call that the SHI loop. It's where so many entrepreneurs get stuck. They seek change. They make a brand new plan. They take action, but they never actually get the shift because they skip the next step. F is facing your fears and limiting beliefs. This is where the transformation happens. This is where we go back to everything that came up in the seeking change phase. What are the old stories that have been driving your behavior? What patterns keep repeating over and over and over again? What are the hidden fears that keep pulling you off track? The old stories that you keep making in your head? Most people avoid this work. They'd rather just stay positive. But if you want a different result, you have to work with the thoughts that created your current one. And when we do this with honesty, with compassion, with presence, everything, and I mean everything, begins to shift. That's why this, along with seeking change, is the heart of the work that I do with my clients. The H and the I are easy. The S and the F are where the gold lives. And finally, it's time for T, to transform. Transformation isn't a lightning strike. It's the natural outcome of aligned thought, aligned action, and a clear internal landscape. It's what happens when you've cleared the noise, when you're no longer fighting against your own patterns, when you've created new habits of thinking that support your next level, when your actions align with your values and your energy is fully behind your mission, that's when things start to flow. That's when you move differently in the world. And that version of you is not some distant dream. That version of you is already here. You're simply one shift away. If you're ready to start making a shift, here are 3 practical tools you can take with you today. The first one is the breath check. When the noise gets loud, stop. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your chest or on your gut. Take one slow breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Then ask yourself, is this truth or is this noise? That one breath breaks your loop. Number 2, pattern catching. For the next 24 hours, notice when your thoughts start with, I should, what if, once I. These are mental doorways into old loops. The moment you notice them, you create choice. Write them down. Say them out loud. Interrupt the spiral. The embodied yes, before you say yes to anything, pause. Feel into your body. Does your chest open or does it close? Does your gut feel grounded or tight? Your body is honest in ways your mind can't always be. It's time to start listening. Let's close with a challenge, not a pressure-filled one, a loving one. In the next 24 hours, identify one place where the noise is the loudest. Maybe it's in your schedule. Maybe it's in your self-talk. Maybe it's in the story you've been repeating for years that says, this is just how I am. Then shift it, not by fixing it all, not by being perfect, just by choosing one different response. One breath, one action, one moment of alignment. Because clearing the noise doesn't happen in a dramatic pivot. It happens in the quiet, consistent returns to yourself. And the version of you beneath that noise, you're not only ready, you're unstoppable. If this stirred something in you, if it cracked something open just a little bit or helped you name something that felt just out of reach, I'd love to hear what shifted. You can find me at lesliezwick.com or email me directly at leslie@lesliezwick.com. Thank you for letting me walk beside you today.
Thank you for participating in today's enlightening session. As we transition to our next expert, remember that each strategy and insight is a step toward becoming a transformative leader in your field. Visit connectedleadersacademy.com to stay engaged and informed. The journey of change is ongoing. Let's move forward together.